So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZW Games 5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below. What's up YouTube, Dan here from Z4 Games, and as you see by the massive card in front of you, I'm actually bringing you a video of some of the best cards to side deck in or to build your side deck with, and I'm also going to take you through why we use these particular cards in front of us as well. Now, some of these cards can actually be replaced for other alternatives as well should you not have the budget for them, or depending on what your locals is, you can adapt via going that way. But this can also be used and applied on bigger scales as well, so regional level or of course even Nats and Worlds level, depending on what the meta is like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the spells, the traps, the monsters, and kind of the other options that you can use for your deck to side in. Now, like has been said many a time before, you actually spend more time in a Yu-Gi-Oh game in your sideboard, because I mean 9 out of 10, if you win game 1, your game 2 is going to be in the sideboard, and then possibly your game 3 would be in sideboard as well, or your extra deck. So what I'm going to do, let's take you through the standard plays for starters. Now, we're going to go and start off with hand traps. Now, hand traps can be anything from your FEB veilers all the way down to the most important hand trap right now, and that is, of course, Droll and Lockbird. So, these are the cards that people are using the most right now. Less so Ogre, but I like Ogre purely because it's a nice one that people don't expect and can cause a lot of damage to your opponent if they're not prepared for it. Droll and Lockbird is a very, very cool card and very, very important card right now, purely because it shuts spirals down completely. You can also play Artifact Lancer as well, because that does stun the spiral matchup as well. It really does come down to the type of deck that you are playing and what you're most likely to face against. Now, Ash is the best card for its generics, like being generic. The fact that actually it can slow down spirals, not massively, but it can slow them down, but it can also hit the road decks. Whereas if you main deck something like Droll, this can actually be dead in a couple of matchups as well. Like, there was a couple of people at the weekend at the regional that drolled me under Dinos. Now, yes, that does hurt me, but I was still able to put out a pretty impressive board, even under Droll. And Droll's main use right now is to shut down the spiral matchup. So if your opponent is going to be like playing, if you think you're going to face like loads of Orcus, loads of Orcus, or of course loads of Altergeist, Lunalights, Droll is not the best choice for you. Something like Ogre, DD, Crow on Ash will be better. You can also include something like Infinite Impermanence as well, because that does the same thing as a FEB Veiler, but you don't need to worry about Call by the Grave as well. So these are like the hand traps. Definitely advise you, if you're not maining some of these, at least side them. The main ones that I would be maining right about now would be Ghost Ogre and Ash, and the main ones that I'll be siding would be DD, Crow, and Droll and Lockbird. More so Ash in this scenario, and more so Droll and Lockbird if you're on a tight ship. But like I showed you in my Dino profile, I chose to put Ash Blossom in at the last minute in my main deck, and it actually served me really, really well. So highly advise Ash Blossom, and definitely siding in Droll and Lockbird as well. If you don't have Droll and Lockbird, Artifact Lancer does the job just as well for the spiral matchup and can be very, very useful. And DD Crow should be an easy one for all of you guys to get a hold of. Now, if your deck is going second, to put cards into your deck and you think, let's say you're a go first deck and your opponent's a go first deck and they're going to make you go second, these are the cards you can put into your deck that can really, really stump them. So not only will you put in hand traps, but you can put in stuff like Nibiru. Really, really slows down the combo plays. Up until Master Rules, you could put in the brand new Gizmek as well. It's not as amazing as the original Gizmek, but it's still a very, very cool card. And if it starts to drop to about the £15 to £10 mark, I'd definitely advise you picking them up for a bit of fun. The artwork is awesome, and I really like the effect. It's just not massively effective. Kaijus. Now, this can be if you don't use your normal summon, Ra Sphere Mode or Lava Golem. But if you do require your normal summon, Kaijus will always be the best form of protection. Now, for example, in the Spiral matchup, you can Kaiju the Sleeper if you're not worried about your spells being negated, or you Kaiju the Appaloosa, and that will then shut down the Tri-Gate lock as well. So it really depends on what board they end on. Finally, with Pranktops now at 1, the brand new card that people are teching in is Ancient Warrior Loyal Guan Yun. Now, the reason this is so good is it actually acts like a Pranktops. It's not a level 7, so it's not as... sorry, it is a level 7, so it's just like Pranktops, but the idea is this one doesn't tribute as cost. So you special summon this if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, and then once per turn, unfortunately it is not a quick effect, I don't believe. If your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can target one monster your opponent controls and destroy it. So again, it's not a quick event, but it is another card that people are teching in alongside Pranktops as well, purely because it is a free level 7 special summon of 2500 beta that can use this effect to pop a monster. Now obviously Pranktops pops anything, but with it being at 1, you kind of have to go with this. Nibiru, not a lot needs to be said about that. It is an absolute beast of a card, rips apart people's decks if they are combo heavy. Now the only issue with Nibiru right now is purely the fact that Spiral players can play through a Nibiru if it is not dropped at the right time. Dino players can protect themselves from a Nibiru, again, if it is not dropped at the right time. You have to be very, very cautious when you're playing Nibiru, and then again, up against decks like Altergeist, if you feel that your locals or your event you're going to is going to be more control-based, Nibiru will be a 100% dead card. So you have to be very, very careful and clever about what you're building. Now I'll show you my current side deck that I'm using to go to the bigger events with this upcoming meta at the end of this video as well, so you can see what I have in action and why I kind of use it. My deck is a go second deck, so most of the cards like Kaijus and Ashes are already mained. Moving on to the spells, some of the best cards we've got right now is Dark Ruler No More. This shuts down the Spiral board purely because they cannot activate monster effects. So unless they're playing Utility Wire, they are going to lose their Appaloosa, their Spiral, and of course they're going to lose their Trigate. Now the best thing about this is, yes, you do lose your battle phase, but with a deck like Spiral, they put so much resource onto their board that if you're able to break it, so again in the example of Dinos, you go UTC, clear their entire board, and then you let them try to rebuild where you have a little bit of protection and a bit more card advantage. The downside of Dark Ruler No More is, again, it is only good against combo decks. If they do not flood the board with monsters, again, control decks like Subterra Gurus or Subterra Infernoids, because they contribute as cost sometimes as well, and they might have the spells on traps. Not to mention anything else that is kind of controlled like Altergeist as well. It is a 100% dead card. So again, it does come down to what you feel you're going to be facing at the event. If you're not maining it, you can side it. Called by the Grave is very, very good in certain matchups. Definitely against Dinos, against Altergeist, it can be very, very painful as well. And of course, Subterras, not to mention the Spiral matchup. Getting rid of that Master Plan or Quick Fix is very, very good. Now, where Dark Ruler is a side-in card if you're going to be going second, Call by the Grave will be a side-in for going first, or a side-out should you be going second as well. The other thing with Call by the Grave is it does stop all those pesky hand traps, so a lot of Spiral players are putting the card in to stop the DD Crows. Twin Twisters, and of course Lightning Storm. Now, Lightning Storm is for those of you that have been lucky enough to pull them, or of course have the budget to get hold of them. This is good right now purely because you can destroy everyone's back row or front row. The only issue with that is you have to it does require you to control no face-up cards. So by not controlling face-up cards, you have to be very, very careful in the sense that this can become an easily dead card if you've already gained advantage. So it takes the position of something that could be an extender for you, or something that could finish the game off for you, with a card that can't be used as consistently. One thing I should mention about hand traps that I forgot about is right now, no materials are sitting at about 15 quid. They're worth investing in if Spirals continue to be the way they are for the next 3 months, because the way it works is no material their master plan, and they can't get it off the board. If they can't get it off the board, it means they can't continually revive it to get the trap search, and they can't continually get the search of the field spell, and of course get the search of an additional monster, so that can really, really stump them. Finally, the best spell card for going second is Mystic Mine. Now, it isn't as good because of Dark Ruler No More, because they can't respond to it. However, if they are unable to respond to it, like Sleeper, or you bait the Sleeper out, a Mystic Mine on your opponent is incredibly powerful. Not only do you have the ability to try and burn your opponent out if you want to go that way, or deck them out, but basically what it allows you to do is shut your opponent's board down, especially when they've gone to overextend massively, and they're then either forced to reduce their board state to one monster to hope you put a monster on your board, Or if they leave all their monsters in attack, a card like UTC or another card that can completely wipe their board out, like a Lightning Storm, like a Regeki, like a Dark Hole or an Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, is going to really hurt them. Mystic Mine is also more consistent in decks that have field spells that can replace Mystic Mine, and it's a nice card if your deck has the probability to brick a little bit. It gives you the ability to kind of control the game a little bit more and protect yourself. It protects yourself because they can't attack, they can't activate effects either. Not only that on the field, but those of the hand and grave and anywhere else. Moving on to the trap cards. So the trap cards we have right now, again, the only one we've got that go in second is Evenly Matched, purely because it does rip apart a spiral board. If you are able to bait out that Trigate, if they have the perfect board, you can evenly match them. 9 times out of 10, the player is going to leave themselves with a sleeper. That being said, if the sleeper does have to trigger to pop one of your cards, they do lose their board as well, and you slightly have a bit of board management, a bit of resource management going on for you as well. We've then got the Judgment Packet, and this is more for like Judgment Strikes and Warnings if you want to, is more defensive. Now, if you're not maining these because you're playing a controlled deck like Guru or like Altergeist already, you can side these in. A lot of Spiral players are siding this in to stop the Dark Ruler no more, to stop the Lightning Storms, and of course to stop anything else that might cause them issues. It's a very powerful card. It is now at 3, which means it will always be live. The fact that you're paying half life points and not a specific amount means no matter how much damage your opponent does, as long as they leave you on at least 2 life points, you can activate Solemn Judgment. Finally, this card is more for going second decks. So going second decks are all combo based, they all want to OTK. So the biggest weakness is when your opponent says you're going to go first. Now this is a disadvantage, however, if you play a card like Artifact Sanctum with Scythe, or if you were to play a card like Rivalry or Gozen, or even there can only be one, depending on the type of deck you're playing, as long as you can shut your opponent down consistently. And the reason Sanctum is better than the other Floodgates is because it shuts the extra deck out completely. So it doesn't rely on your opponent having to only play one monster or only being able to play one type. It gives you a bit more control back because the idea is you shut them out, stun them, and then OTK them the next turn as well. The biggest weakness with that is it can be ashed, sadly, and your Scythe can be veiled as well should they play that or impermed. Which is why it's better to let your opponent get the board going first and then hit them with this. Another mention goes out to Cyframe Lord Gamma, Cyframe Gamma, and of course Lambda. Now, I personally don't like that engine because it can be a bit bricky. However, in the Lunalight matchup, they are making Lambda and then being able to banish Time Thief Redoer to search out the Gamma, and it means they've got a nice destruction effect in hand ready to go, and you know it. And it doesn't matter whether they control monsters or not. So the only way you get out of that is getting rid of their Lambda, and then they have a brick in hand while they control another monster as well. So yeah, I will now show you my extra deck. Now, my extra deck basically consisted, or has been consistent recently, because I'm going to go second deck, I'm maining the Evening Matches anyway, and I'm maining the Mystic Mines. So my side deck currently is with Lightning Storms and Twin Twisters to deal with both front row and back row. Dark Ruler No More to deal with combo heavy decks. And then Artifact Sanctum, because I'm a go second deck, I want to be able to play the Artifact Sanctum to slow my opponent down should I need to. And Droll and Lockbird. Now, these are the main cards that I require in my side deck. There are a few things that I might like to change, but that's because I'm maining stuff like Kaijus as well. Another thing that I didn't mention was Super Poly, and the reason I haven't mentioned that is currently, I mean, Heroes did really well. They won the 700 player invitational in America yesterday, so Super Poly is actually really good against them. But right now, with the spiral boards and the spiral plays working that way, it's not that good, because unless they end on the God board, you're still going to struggle to break their board with a Super Poly. And I think the reason Heroes are doing so well is because Dark Claw shuts down the spiral matchup. The spiral matchup, they lose because they need their graveyard. And 90% of the decks out there do require their graveyard. So if they cannot Nibiru the hero player, and they can't get rid of that Dark Claw quickly and easily, they will start to seriously suffer. So yeah, my side deck would be 2 Twin Twisters at the moment, 3 Lightning Storm, 3 of these, 1 of those, and 3 of those. Again, you adapt it depending on what you're playing. Like I said, I'm going to go second deck, so I'm already maining the Mystic Mines, the Kaijus, Ash Blossoms, and Evenly Matched. So these cards can be changed around should you need to. I wouldn't say if you're a go first deck that you main this, because again, you could come up against a mirror match, like an Altergeist mirror match or a Subterra mirror match, where it is just 4 dead cards. So it really does come down to what you're facing and what you're facing against, and being able to read the locals or the event you're going to. So for example, if you're going to a big regional event, the chances are that the games are going to be played following the previous event, as long as a ban list or new set hasn't come into effect. That being said, you look at the past recent events we've had. So we had the Brotherhood, there was a lot of Spirals, a couple of Infernoids, the Lunalight decks, as well as a Hero Surprise deck which caught everyone off guard, which is very, very good. And then you've got the Dino decks as well. So preparing for that deck, or preparing for that game, or matchup, or event, you kind of want to go, right, Droll's really, really good, I expect loads of Spirals, that's definitely going in there. I'm a go second deck, I need some go first cards. Right now, the most effective package is the Sanctum Scythe package. There's a lot of Spirals running around, so I want to be going with the Dark Ruler. Just in case I face any form of front row or back row, Twin Twisters is there for the Altergeist and the Subterra and the Control matchup, and then the Lightning Storm again is there for the Control matchup, or, because it is the way it is and it can destroy the monsters as well, it can also help you against a combo-based Flood deck as well. Now, I hope this video has covered most of the areas. Stuff like Denko is also very, very good if you do not require your normal summon as well. There's so many cards in the game right now that I may have missed some, and if I have, I do apologise. Put them down in the comments down below. I'll be more than happy to help you out with that. But from the examples that I've provided with you today, I've shown you a couple of go second cards. I've shown you a couple of cards that I would advise putting in going first as well, should you wish. The only thing I don't like about the Sanctum Scythe package is it is a 4-card side deck engine. But the best thing with a go second deck right now, if you read your opponent good enough and well enough, you can, take out all your go second cards. So that's a very, very easy side out process. So out come your Kaijus, out come your evenly matches, in goes your Artifact Sanctum Scythes and your Drolls, and then you can hold on to some of your go second cards just in case it gets past one turn and you do need to OTK and finish your opponent off. So that's kind of the place and the advice that I will provide you guys with. Like I said, any questions, please put them down. Any questions, please put them down in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. If you have any suggestions, please let me know as well. I am looking forward, and something that I'm going to be looking to do for you guys as well, is at the end of every week on a Thursday, just so I have a bit of time, maybe even on Wednesday, I'm going to set a poll to the YouTube channel, and I'm going to ask you guys, give you guys 5 options of decks that I know I have, and I'm going to get you to choose what deck I take to locals for that weekend. I'm going to change it up, and we're hopefully going to build up towards a regional, national, or Euros with your guys' decision as well. So hopefully I'll be able to represent you guys as well and be able to say, look guys, you chose this deck for me, and I did this with it. So I think this weekend I'm probably going to be looking at Shadows, but I'm going to put a list up. We do have that coming out on Thursday, so I will bring you a budget version using only 3 of the structure decks, and I'll also bring you a full powered version as well, with all the other cards that we have in the game at date. But for now, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. And as always, guys, happy dueling.